Hey, Andre Chumley here, aka We Are Ants to Them, and just going to share a few ideas, a few tips on synthesis, specifically modular synthesis. The things I'm going to talk about apply to hardware, but also software, VCV or MyRack or anything like that, and it also applies to really any music that you're making, whether you're using a synthesizer or not. There's a lot of debate. Should you have a mixer outside, inside? We go back and forth on that. I kind of split the difference. This one's kind of small. I've seen mixers that take up half the case. This one is 6 channels in, but I do something a little tricky with it. I use a couple sub-mixers. So I have very small mixers that I have spread about the place. For instance, I have a drum mixer. I'll bring that up. And in this little drum mixer, I've got 3 little voices. So that means I can really fine tune. Change the drum sounds a bit and bring them in and out. And I can pan them, which is another cool thing about a mixer. A good mixer should have panning, should have some sort of effects send. I've got some effects going here, so if we turn that up, I've got some delay. So you can see the possibilities there. I'm gonna keep that on a nice reverb. So by submixing, it lets me get 12 channels happening actually. So I've got the drums in a little submix. I got another submix over here that's got this little sequence happening. It's also got some radio noise. I often use a little AM radio, so you can get some strange sounds. After all, radio provides some of the kind of interference frequencies and white noise and strange stuff like that that you can play around with and that you can record and sample, you know. I just trapped that radio signal. Now I can mess with it. This is just a thing by 2HP called Freeze, but it lets you trap whatever's coming in. I can trap those drums. So kind of 2 tips in one there. I think it's great to have, I mean, you can just mess with that. Put it into some effects. And, you know, do a lot with just that. So there's a couple things there. Putting in some external sound, whether it's a radio or anything you might have, a little field recorder, anything like that. Bringing your beats in and out. Make your own, figure out how to get some rails and check that out. Look online for different ways to do that. But also, you can, you can really save a lot of time just getting a case. This case has the power in it. It's got stereo outs. It's got what's called a CV bus. So that means I can mult up to 4 different signals. In other words, I could put a clock or a CV or a gate or a trigger of some sort and duplicate it several times across the board. I also have input and output, stereo output. And right now I've got another, a Nord drum is what you're hearing there. And I'm triggering that with my clocks and bringing it back into the system. So IntelliGel, Make Noise, Pittsburgh, Behringer Moog, a lot of manufacturers make different cases, and do the math on it. You might spend just as much putting all the power in and putting inputs and outputs and making the case really safe and secure enough. You have some serious investments in there that you're dragging around, so you want to think about what's going in there. I tend to use white and black cables for clocks. Not exclusively, but I tend to do that. That way I can always find a clock that's happening. And I tend to use other colors for audio. I tend to use purple and pink for drums and hi-hats and stuff. And you can figure out any kind of scheme you like, but anything that reduces your sense of kind of going, wait, what's over here? I also label stuff. A lot of people think that's cheesy, but hey, if I look down here, I know right away there's the drums, there's the other mixer, there's my percussion sequencer, etc. I also do something called a wild card. I keep one channel and I find one cable that's kind of unique. This is a fabric wrapped cable, and so I know that whatever I do with this cable, I can grab it and kind of I just have this cable that can end up anywhere and give me right away a way to send stuff into that channel, no matter. So I call it the wild card, and let's leave it over here with some noise. Always good to have a source of noise as well, as you know. Don't have to tell you that. Noise, you can make hi-hats, you can make all kinds of stuff. Being able to put external audio into your system, I use something called ears. And ears enables you to take an external signal and just, it's got a microphone in and a 10 dB input, so you can do things like that. Do whatever you like, but this way you're getting the audio into the system, and you could put some echo on it. You could do some treatments. Suddenly you have a texture. I can put this radio into that as well and get this kind of thing. So this little thing is a way to put little recordings. This is by Tiptop. It has a little SD mini card in it. However, a lot of companies make something like that. 2HP has one. All kinds of companies. It's very simple. It's just a playback machine with an SD card. But what's cool is you can play it, play the pitch. Keep re-triggering. Also, you can, of course, trigger it from a clock. know, you can really do some interesting things when you have a little playback. If you have something that takes a gate signal, for instance. So I've got this oscillator here, this Mr. on, which is a really cool Car Plus Strong module from Make Noise. And I'm triggering it manually. Very beautiful, playable. And what's cool is you can put multiple clocks into it. So if I was putting you get the idea. So it responds to triggers. However, you can flip the script, and you're not supposed to send, well, it's not expecting pulses and sawtooth and sine waves. You can send those in. And as you lower the frequency, in this case, really, if you slow an LFO, an oscillator down, of course, you're getting an LFO if that oscillator allows. So suddenly I've got, let's send it. So what am I doing there? I'm just using pitch instead of a gate, and I get something unique. And when I go up in frequency, you get into audio rate, and you can do some unique things. So what's the idea there? Just break the rules. Put a gate where it's expecting a CV. Put a CV where it's expecting a gate. Just kind of mess around with the expected realities. Echo and reverb, gotta have it. All right, you know, I just think it's one of the classic tones of synthesis, and you can't go wrong making sure that you've got some really cool reverb happening, and have your sound just kind of disappear into. Thank you so much, and hopefully you pick something up from that. Happy patching.